This video is about a maid sat alone until a rich lady stepped in. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. In the heart of Oakwood, a quaint town known for its sprawling green fields and friendly faces, lived a young maid named Clara. Her life was woven into the fabric of the grand Oakwood Manor, where she had worked since she was a girl. Each morning, she rose before dawn, her hands calloused yet gentle, as she prepared the home for its wealthy occupants. Clara was not just another maid, she was the soul of the manor, infusing warmth into every room she touched. She carefully dusted the silver frames that lined the grand hallway and polished the rich mahogany furniture until it gleamed. Yet, despite her diligence, she often felt invisible, merely a shadow in a house that sparkled with opulence. As the sun dipped behind the rolling hills, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Clara would often sit on the worn steps of the back porch, gazing at the stars that began to twinkle above. Each glimmer reminded her of the dream she held close, a desire for education, for adventure, for a life beyond the confines of the manor. She longed to see the world, to learn and grow, but those dreams felt as distant as the stars themselves. One evening, while Clara sat lost in thought, she noticed a figure approaching the manor. It was Lady Isabel, the new owner of Oakwood Manor, who had recently returned from Europe. The townsfolk whispered of her generosity and beauty, but Clara had yet to see this woman up close. The lady stepped onto the porch, her presence radiant and commanding. "Good evening," she greeted with a warm smile that lit up the night. Clara blinked in surprise, unsure how to respond. "I noticed you here alone. Do you mind if I join you?" "Of course not, my lady," Clara stammered, trying to conceal her bewilderment. As they sat side by side, Clara felt a flutter of hope. Isabella's laughter was melodic, and her stories of travel dripped with adventure. Clara listened, captivated by tales of bustling markets in Marrakech, the art of Paris, and the serene beaches of the Amalfi Coast. Each word painted vivid images in Clara's mind, igniting a spark within her. "Tell me about yourself, Clara," Isabel prompted, her eyes keen and sincere. "What do you dream of?" Clara hesitated, her heart racing. I want to see the world, my lady. I wish I could learn more, explore beyond this place." Isabel nodded thoughtfully, her gaze unwavering. "You deserve that, Clara. Every person should have the chance to pursue their dreams. Have you considered furthering your education?" "I've thought about it, but it feels impossible. I have to work to support my family," Clara replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Sometimes the hardest paths lead to the most rewarding destinations," Isabel encouraged, her tone gentle yet firm. "What if I could help?" Clara glanced at her, disbelief flooding her senses. "Help me? But I am just a maid." "Just a maid?" Isabel echoed, chuckling softly. "You are so much more than that. You have a spirit that shines bright. It deserves to be nurtured." Weeks turned into months, and with Isabel's support, Clara's life began to shift. The lady arranged for Clara to attend evening classes at the local library. At first, a small town institution seemed daunting, so many faces that were unfamiliar and intimidating. But with each lesson, Clara's confidence grew. She learned about history, literature, and the world beyond Oakwood, taking notes diligently, her hands trembling with excitement. One evening, while studying in her small room, Clara received a letter from Isabel. It was an invitation to a charity gala at a grand hotel in the city, a chance to experience the very world she had been dreaming about. Clara's heart raced at the thought of attending such an event, mingling among the wealthy and influential. The day of the gala arrived, and Clara stood nervously in front of the mirror, adjusting the simple but elegant dress Isabel had gifted her. The fabric felt foreign and luxurious against her skin. As she stepped out, she could hardly recognize the reflection that looked back. "Clara, you look stunning," Isabel exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with pride. "Are you ready for a night to remember?" "I think so," Clara replied, her stomach fluttering with anticipation and nerves. The gala was a whirlwind of laughter, music, and glimmering lights. Clara felt like she had stepped into a fairy tale, each minute filled with wonder. Yet, amidst the glamour, she noticed the subtle glances of people who judged her based on her humble background. Their whispers, though hushed, cut through the joyous atmosphere like shards of glass. "Look at her dress. Isn't it sweet?" one woman scoffed, her voice dripping with condescension. But Clara remembered Isabel's words, "You're so much more than that." She took a deep breath and mingled with grace, engaging in conversations and sharing her aspirations. Clara spoke passionately about her studies, about the thirst for knowledge that had taken hold of her heart. To her surprise, people listened. Slowly, barriers began to break down. One gentleman, a local author, took a genuine interest in her dreams and offered her advice on publishing her writing. Clara shared her poems, her words spilling forth with joy and vulnerability. As the night drew to a close, Clara found herself standing on the balcony, gazing at the city lights that twinkled like the stars she had once only dreamed of. Isabel joined her, standing shoulder to shoulder, and together they watched the horizon. "Clara, you inspire me," Isabel said, her voice soft but strong. "You're resilient, you're passionate as contagious. Remember that every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your dreams." Tears welled in Clara's eyes as she felt the weight of the lady's words. In that moment, she understood that dreams were not just distant stars, they were circumstances waiting to be grasped. But life, as Clara knew, was not without challenges. As she returned to Oakwood Manor, the realities of her world set in once more. The responsibilities awaited her: the laundry, the dishes, the endless chores. Her family struggled, her mother's health faltering, and Clara felt the tug of duty against her burgeoning aspirations. Days turned into nights filled with worry as she juggled her studies and the demands at the manor. Yet, each time she picked up a book or pored over her notes under the flickering light of a candle, Clara was reminded of the glimmering hope that Isabel had ignited within her. One rainy evening, Clara found herself in the kitchen, her hands submerged in soapy water. The sound of rain tapping against the window was soothing, but her heart felt heavy. She knew the sacrifices her family made for her to pursue her education, and guilt clawed at her. "Clara, you were quiet tonight," a familiar voice broke through her thoughts. It was Isabel visiting the manor to check on her. "I am sorry, my lady, I am just overwhelmed," Clara confessed, wiping her hands on her apron. Isabel stepped closer, her expression filled with understanding. "It's okay to feel that way, it means you care. I want to help my family, but I also want to fulfill my own dreams. That feels impossible sometimes," Clara admitted, her voice thick with emotion. "Nothing is impossible, Clara. You have the strength to carry both. It may not be easy, but remember, every struggle is a step forward," Isabel reassured her, placing a hand on Clara's shoulder. The conversation lingered in Clara's heart long after Isabel left. The lady's unwavering belief in her felt like a safety net, one that encouraged her to keep pushing through her doubts. As days passed, Clara began to find ways to balance her responsibilities. She carved out time to study, even if it meant waking up earlier or going to bed later. She reached out to neighbors for support, and slowly a network of kindness formed around her. Clara's determination grew. She began to realize that the world was not merely made up of wealth and privilege, but also of community, of shared struggles and victories. And so, Clara sat alone no longer. She found strength in her dreams and kindness in the hearts of those around her. With every small victory, every new lesson learned, she was becoming the woman she had always aspired to be, a testament to resilience, a beacon of hope. In the shadows of the grand Oakwood Manor, a bright future began to unfold, one that promised beauty, growth, and a profound understanding of the human spirit. As she gazed up at the stars that night, Clara whispered a silent vow to herself: she would not only reach for the stars, but she would also help others shine alongside her. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Clara was ready to embrace every twist and turn, fueled by the belief that dreams, no matter how distant, were always within reach. As the days turned into weeks, Clara's life began to resemble a delicate balance of dreams and responsibilities. Her studies flourished thanks to the support of Lady Isabel, who had become both a mentor and a cherished friend. Yet with every lesson Clara absorbed, new challenges emerged, testing her resolve and commitment. One afternoon, Clara found herself in the small library of the manor, surrounded by a sea of books, each offering a world of knowledge. The sun filtered through the tall windows, casting a warm glow over her. She sat at the old wooden table, scribbling notes on parchment, the ink smudged from her hurried writing. The subject that day was history, and Clara's heart raced as she read about women who had changed the world, daring to challenge societal norms. "Isn't it amazing?" Clara murmured to herself, her eyes sparkling. They fought against all odds. As she stood up to stretch, the door creaked open, revealing Isabel, her presence as radiant as ever. "Lost in a world of your own again, I see," she teased, her smile infectious. Clara laughed, her spirits lifting. "You know me too well, my lady. Today I am reading about women like Emmeline Pankhurst and Marie Curie. Their courage inspires me." Isabel's expression turned serious, a spark of admiration in her eyes. "You have that same courage, Clara. You just have to believe in yourself." "I want to, but sometimes it feels impossible," Clara admitted, biting her lip as she considered her family's struggles. The weight of her responsibilities pressed down on her like an anchor as she recalled her mother's recent illness. I am afraid that if I focus too much on my dreams, I might fail my family. Your dreams and your family are not mutually exclusive, Isabel replied, her voice steady. You can honor both, just take it one step at a time. Clara nodded, though doubt lingered in her heart. The following weeks were a blur of late-night studying and early morning chores. Clara's mother fell ill, and as the family's primary support, Clara felt a growing sense of urgency. Her evenings spent at the library became more challenging to maintain, but she pushed through, fueled by the vision of a brighter future. One rainy evening, after a particularly long day, Clara returned home to find her mother resting in bed, her face pale and weary. Clara sat beside her, holding her mother's hand tightly. How are you feeling? Oh, Clara, I am just tired, dear. You can keep working yourself to the bone, her mother murmured, concern etched across her features. You should focus on your studies. I can mother. I need to help, Clara replied, her voice wavering. Please, just rest. Clara's heart felt heavy as she watched her mother drift off to sleep. Guilt washed over her, and she knew she was letting her studies slip as she divided her time between home and school. The weight of her dreams began to feel like a burden, and despair threatened to close in around her. One afternoon, as Clara sat in the library staring blankly at her notes, Isabel appeared, her usual radiant demeanor dimmed by concern. Clara, you seem distant. What's on your mind? Clara sighed, the frustration spilling out. I feel like I am losing everything. My studies, my family I can keep up, and I don't know what to do. Isabel's brow furrowed as she listened intently. You are carrying a lot on your shoulders. Have you thought about reaching out for help? Clara shook her head, feeling weak. I don't want to burden anyone else. Everyone has their own struggles. But Clara, that's exactly why community matters. We lift each other up, Isabel replied, her voice steady. Let me help you connect with others who can support you. Days passed, and Clara found herself attending a local community meeting, unsure of what to expect. As she entered the small hall, it was filled with familiar faces from awkward neighbors who shared her struggles. They discussed ways to support each other, sharing ideas that ignited something within Clara. I can help with meals, one woman offered, her hands clasped tightly together. If we take turns, it will lighten the load. Others chimed in, their voices filled with warmth and encouragement. Clara felt a wave of relief wash over her. Slowly, she began to realize that she wasn't alone in her journey. The same community she had once felt disconnected from was rallying to support her. Thank you, Clara whispered as she left the meeting, her heart swelling with gratitude. It was a reminder that vulnerability could lead to strength, and asking for help didn't make her weak, but rather a part of a greater whole. With renewed resolve, Clara began to embrace the balance between her family and her aspirations. She carved out time for her studies, but also accepted help from her neighbors, who provided meals and support for her mother. The burdens felt lighter as kindness wrapped around her like a warm quilt. As the weeks turned into months, Clara's mother's health began to improve, and she found new strength in her studies. Clara was no longer just a maid, she was a student, a daughter, a beacon of hope. Lady Isabel's belief in her transformed into a powerful force, guiding Clara through the trials she faced. One evening, while Clara was studying, she received a letter from Isabel. It was an invitation to a summer retreat, a gathering of like-minded individuals dedicated to empowerment and growth. Clara's heart raced at the prospect of learning from inspirational figures who had blazed trails in their respective fields. Do you think I should go, Mother? Clara asked, glancing at her mom, who was now sitting up, enjoying a warm cup of tea. Absolutely, it is a wonderful opportunity, her mother encouraged, her eyes bright with pride. You must go and soak in every moment. With her mother's blessing, Clara prepared for the retreat, excitement bubbling within her. She found herself in the company of women who had overcome tremendous obstacles, each with their own stories of resilience and determination. Through workshops and discussions, Clara learned not just about academic subjects, but also about the power of self-belief. One particularly moving session focused on storytelling as a means of empowerment. Clara listened as women shared their journeys, each story weaving a tapestry of strength and defiance. It ignited something deep within her, desire to share her own story to inspire others just as she had been inspired. After the session, Clara approached the speaker, a well-known author named Lila Hart. Your words move me, Clara admitted, her voice shaky. I, too, want to share my story. I want to write about the struggles and triumphs of women like us. Lila smiled warmly, her eyes filled with understanding. Then do it. Start small. Write every day. Your voice is valuable, and the world needs to hear it. Encouraged, Clara returned home with a notebook filled with ideas. Each night, after tending to her mother and completing her chores, she wrote. She poured her heart onto the pages, sharing her dreams, her fears, and the lessons she learned from Isabel and the community. As summer gave way to autumn, Clara's writings began to take shape. She shared her pieces with Isabel, who encouraged her and offered constructive feedback. "You have a gift, Clara. Your words resonate with authenticity," Isabel said, her eyes sparkling. "Consider submitting them to a local publication." With trembling hands, Clara sent her work to the local newspaper. Weeks passed, and the anxiety of waiting gnawed at her, but she continued to write, believing in the power of her voice. Then, one crisp morning, Clara received a reply. The editor expressed admiration for her work and invited her to write a column highlighting community stories, a chance to amplify the voices of those who often went unheard. "Is this real?" Clara gasped, clutching the letter tightly. Her heart swelled with pride as she thought of her family, the community, and all who had believed in her. With every word she wrote, Clara felt a deeper connection to her roots, a reminder that the beauty of human spirit lay not only in individual dreams but also in collective resilience. As she stood on the porch of Oakwood Manor, gazing at the horizon, Clara whispered a silent promise to herself. She would continue to chase her dreams, uplift others along the way, and honor the struggles that shaped her into who she had become. The stars twinkled in the night sky, each one a reminder of the many possibilities that awaited her. Clara understood now that her journey was not just about reaching for her own dreams, it was about weaving a tapestry of hope, kindness, and resilience, one that could inspire countless others to do the same. And so, with renewed determination, Clara embraced the future, knowing that every step forward would leave a trail of light for others to follow. In the dance of shadows and light, she found her place, and with that, the world felt just a little bit brighter. As autumn settled over Oakwood, Clara felt a bittersweet swirl of emotions. The leaves transformed into brilliant hues of gold and crimson, but with them came a reminder of the fleeting nature of time. It also marked a turning point in her journey, a path woven with dreams and the undeniable reality of her responsibilities. The local newspaper, where her first column had been published, had ignited a spark within her that thrived on the stories she heard each day. Clara shared tales of neighbors who had triumphed over adversity, their resilience echoing through her words. Yet, as glowing as the responses had been, Clara still felt the weight of her own story, one of struggle, hope, and the relentless pursuit of dreams. One chilly evening, as she warmed her hands over the stove, Clara's mother entered the kitchen, her face reflecting a blend of pride and curiosity. "You've been writing again, haven't you, Clara?" she asked, leaning against the counter. Clara nodded and smiled. "I've been chronicling the stories of our neighbors, Mom. It's amazing how many people have faced hardships yet still find joy in the little things." Her mother beamed. "You should write about your own journey too. Your voice matters, Clara." "But my story is still unfolding," Clara replied, her brown with uncertainty. "What if I failed to do it justice?" "Every story has its struggles, and yours is no exception. That's what makes it real. Don't you shy away from sharing the truth of who you are," her mother encouraged, warmth radiating from her gentle gaze. Emboldened by her mother's words, Clara resolved to weave her own narrative, a tapestry of dreams pursued amidst the everyday struggles of life. The very next day, she met with Isabel, who was now a trusted confidant, and shared her thoughts. "Isabel, I want to write my story," Clara confessed, her voice trembling slightly. "But I am afraid of exposing my vulnerabilities." Isabel leaned forward, her expression encouraging. "Clara, vulnerability is a strength. Your experiences are a testament to resilience. They might inspire someone else to keep going." Clara considered this. "I want to highlight the importance of community, too. How we lift each other up, it's been my lifeline." "Then shook a set," Isabel exclaimed. "You are not alone in this journey. Your story resonates beyond your individual experience." With that newfound resolve, Clara began to unfold her narrative into words. She began each morning earlier than usual, finding solace in the quiet hours before the world woke. She wrote feverishly, her thoughts pouring onto the pages, capturing her struggles and determination with each stroke of the pen. Weeks flew by, and Clara's words began to take shape, a series of essays that illustrated her life, her dreams, and the profound impact of her community. However, just as she felt her momentum build, life threw another challenge her way. One rainy night, Clara received a call from her younger brother, Daniel. His voice trembled with panic. "Clara, it is Mom," she fainted. "We need you at home." Heart racing, Clara dropped everything and rushed home. She found her mother lying on the couch, pale and fragile, a doctor kneeling beside her. It is just fatigue, the doctor reassured. She has been pushing herself too hard. Clara's heart felt as heavy as stone. I wish I could do more, she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. I am so sorry, Mom. Her mother weakly smiled, reaching out to clasp Clara's hand. You are doing more than you know, my love. Just be here. In the following days, Clara balanced being a caregiver for her mother and the responsibilities of the household. It was overwhelming. Even her writing felt like a distant memory as she struggled to keep her spirits up while caring for her family. One evening, as Clara prepared a simple dinner, Isabel arrived and announced her presence, a ray of sunshine in the storm. How are you holding up? She asked gently, her eyes scanning the room. It is hard, Clara admitted, her voice heavy with exhaustion. I feel like I am drowning. There is so much to do, and I can't find the energy. Isabel stepped closer, placing a hand on Clara's shoulder. You are strong, Clara, but it is okay to lean on others when you need to. Let me help. Clara shook her head, a wave of guilt washing over her. I can see. Everyone else has their burdens. I don't want to add to them. Let us not think of it that way, Isabel countered, her voice firm yet soothing. You are part of this community, and you must allow them to be part of your journey. We are in this together. With that, Isabel began organizing meals for Clara's family, rallying other neighbors to lend a hand. The response was overwhelming. Dishes piled up on the doorstep, each one a token of kindness and solidarity. Clara watched in awe as her community rallied around her in support, and slowly the burden began to lift. During one of those evenings, Clara caught up with her writing. With every word she wrote, she felt her spirits rise. She began to pen the story of her journey, not just her own, but of each person who had offered support during her trying times. Days turned into weeks, and Clara's mother started to regain her strength, thanks to the care of both Clara and their supportive neighbors. As her mother sat in the sun-drenched garden one afternoon, Clara approached her with a notebook in hand. Mom, I want to share our story, our struggles, the kindness we've been given, everything, Clara said, her voice earnest. It is powerful, isn't it? Her mother's eyes sparkled with pride. Absolutely, Clara. Sharing our journey could inspire others who are facing their own battles. With her mother's encouragement, Clara submitted her completed essays to the local newspaper once more. She felt vulnerable, but also empowered by the journey she had taken. As she hit send on her submission, she whispered a silent prayer that her words would resonate with others. Weeks later, Clara received a phone call that would change everything. The editor of the newspaper wanted to feature her essays as a collection in a special publication on community stories. Clara, your voice matters, the editor said, a tone warm and inviting. People need to hear your story. You have a gift. Tears of joy filled Clara's eyes as she absorbed the news. Thank you, I am so grateful for this chance. As the publication date approached, Clara felt a bubbling mix of nerves and excitement. Her journey had come full circle, and she was ready to embrace this new chapter. On the day of the launch, Clara stood in front of a small crowd gathered at the local library, clutching her book, the embodiment of her dreams and hard work. Thank you for being here, Clara began, her voice steady but emotional. This book is a testament to the strength we find in each other. It is about our shared experiences, our resilience, and the kindness that binds us. The room filled with warmth as Clara shared snippets from her essays, her voice rising and falling with the rhythm of her emotions. She shared her fears, her dreams, and the unwavering support from her community, and how it had carried her through the darkest days. At the end of her reading, there was a moment of stillness before the room erupted into applause. Clara felt herself swell with gratitude, seeing familiar faces nodding in understanding. Afterward, as people approached her to share their own stories, Clara realized the power of connection. Each narrative was a thread woven into a larger tapestry, a tapestry of humanity, resilience, and unwavering hope. In the heart of Oakwood, Clara found her place not just as a maid, but as a storyteller, a beacon of light. She continued to write, sharing her own journey while amplifying the voices of those around her. Clara had discovered that while dreams were paramount, they thrived best when intertwined with community. And as she gazed at the stars each night, she knew her story was just beginning. With each word, she would inspire others to embrace their own journey, reminding them that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit could shine brighter than the stars. And so, with a heart full of gratitude, Clara stepped forward into a future ablaze with possibility, knowing every step she took would light the way for others to follow. In the gentle embrace of early winter, Oakwood began to don its seasonal cloak. Frost kissed the lawns, trees stood bare against the sky, and a crisp chill filled the air. Clara found herself swept into a whirlwind of tasks that accompanied the season's festivities. yet her heart brimmed with gratitude. The publication of her book had opened doors she had once dreamed of, connecting her with a community that thrived on shared experiences and unwavering support. Clara was now a regular contributor to the local newspaper, crafting columns every week that highlighted stories of resilience, of neighbors who weathered life's storms with grace, of families who came together in adversity. Each line she wrote felt like a stitch in the fabric of her beloved Oakwood, and the connections she forged filled her spirit with warmth. One evening, as snowflakes began to dance outside the window, Clara nestled under a quilt with a cup of steaming tea. She stared at the blank page before her, poised to write about the upcoming winter festival, a celebration that echoed the spirit of the community. Yet, as she sipped her tea, her thoughts drifted to the past year, a year of incredible growth, but not without its own hurdles. "Clara," her mother's voice broke through her reverie. "Could you help me with the decorations? I want to make our home festive for the festival." "Of course, Mom," Clara replied, a smile spreading across her face as she joined her mother in the living room. They carefully unpacked the boxes filled with ornaments and lights that had been stored away for months. Clara's fingers grazed over the delicate ornaments, recalling the warmth of family traditions. "Remember when we made these together?" she chuckled, holding up a lopsided ornament they had crafted in a rush. Her mother laughed, her eyes glistening with affection. "How could I forget? It was more glue than ornament." As they decorated, Clara noticed the change in her mother's energy. The once pale cheeks now flushed with excitement. "You know, Clara, seeing you thrive this year has brought me so much joy. You've inspired me to embrace life more fully." Touched, Clara replied, "You've always been my inspiration, Mom. Your strength pushed me to chase my dreams. I only hope to repay that love." The truth was, Clara's mother had become her anchor. After the illness that had once threatened to dim the spirits, they had worked together to rebuild their lives. Clara often reminded herself of the importance of gratitude, especially during their quiet moments together, when her mother's laughter filled the home. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a soft glow over Oakwood, Clara and her mother finished decorating their home aglow with twinkling lights. "It looks beautiful," Clara said, stepping back to admire their handiwork. "You're beautiful," her mother corrected, her smile warm. With the festival approaching, Clara felt a rush of excitement. She envisioned the town square filled with laughter, families gathering, and the joyous spirit that ignited the hearts of all who participated. Yet, there loomed a sense of apprehension, a whisper of doubt that lingered in the back of her mind. "What if I falter? What if my words don't resonate anymore?" Clara voiced her concerns to Isabel during one of their afternoon meetings, as they sat in the quaint cafe that had become their frequent meeting spot. Isabel looked at her, her expression unwavering. "Clara, you've come so far. Remember, writing is not just about perfection, it is about connection. Your words have touched lives." Clara sighed, stirring her tea absent-mindedly. "But what if my next piece doesn't have the same impact? What if I let everyone down?" "Every storyteller must face that fear," Isabel said gently. "But you can't let it paralyze you. Embrace the unknown. It is where the magic happens." Clara nodded, absorbing her mentor's wisdom. "You're right. I'll channel this uncertainty into my writing. I want to convey the spirit of the festival, the magic that lies in community." As winter's chill deepened, Clara immersed herself in her work. With every word she penned, she felt the flutter of hope igniting within her. The festival came alive in her mind. She envisioned the flickering lanterns, the aroma of cinnamon and pine, the laughter of children as they ran through the snow. Finally, the day of the festival arrived. Clara stood at the heart of Oakwood, her breath visible as white pus in the air. The townsfolk gathered, their faces alive with excitement, adorned in colorful scarves and mittens. The square was transformed, strings of lights twinkled like stars, stalls overflowing with homemade treats and handmade crafts lined the streets. Clara took a moment to absorb the beauty of it all, her heart swelling with pride for her community. She caught sight of her neighbors, Mr. Thompson, who always had a story to share, and Mrs. Ellis, whose baked goods were legendary. They were the very essence of Oakwood, each contributing to the vibrant tapestry of life. As the festivities commenced, Clara joined her mother at a cozy booth selling hot cocoa. They served the drinks while sharing laughter and stories with familiar faces. Clara felt invigorated with each cup she poured, the warmth of connection filling her soul. "Clara," a familiar voice called out, breaking through the crowd's laughter. It was Daniel, her younger brother, his cheeks rosy from the cold. "Look, I made this for you." He proudly held out a hand-knit scarf, a vibrant mix of colors. "Oh, Daniel, it is beautiful, thank you." Clara pulled him into a warm embrace, her heart swelling with love for her family. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue over the square, Clara felt a gentle nudge of inspiration. "I want to write about this," she told her mother, excitement bubbling within her. "Write about how the community came together, how love shines through even in the darkest winters. It's all part of your story," her mother encouraged. As the evening unfolded with carols and storytelling sessions around the bonfire, Clara seized the moment. Armed with her notebook, she jotted down notes, capturing the essence of the festival, the laughter, the warmth, the spirit of unity. "May I have your attention, please?" A voice called from the small stage set up in the square. Clara turned to see the mayor, smiling broadly as he stood before the crowd. "Thank you all for being here tonight. It's a reminder that we are stronger together, that kindness is the heartbeat of Oakwood." The townsfolk erupted in cheers, and Clara's heart danced with joy. She watched as neighbors embraced one another, as stories were shared, and as laughter echoed through the cold air. It felt like magic, and she couldn't wait to translate that energy into her writing. That night, Clara returned home, her heart alight with inspiration. As she settled into her quaint writing nook, she began to write furiously, pouring her heart onto the pages. In a world that often feels divided, Oakwood shines as a reminder that love, kindness, and community can conquer all. Here, under the glimmering lights, we find strength in each other. Her words flowed like a river, a testament to the bond that had emerged and thrived in the heart of this small town. With every sentence, Clara felt a deep sense of connection to her journey, her family, and everyone within the community. They had lifted her when she felt lost, and now it was her turn to uplift others with her voice. Weeks passed, and her piece was published, garnering praise from near and far. As Clara read the comments and letters that poured in, she realized the impact of her words. Strangers reached out, sharing their own stories of resilience, echoing the very sentiments she had written about. "Your article inspired me to reach out to a neighbor I hadn't spoken to in years," one reader wrote. Another shared, "I felt alone until I read your words. Thank you for reminding me of the beauty in community." Clara felt her heart swell with a profound sense of purpose. Her journey as a writer was not just about self-expression, it was about creating a ripple effect of hope and connection. She had the power to transform lives, to foster resilience among those who felt lost. One evening, as snowflakes began to fall outside her window, Clara received a call from Miss Abel. "Clara, you won't believe it. They've invited you to speak at the Winter Gala event next month, a chance to share your story with a larger audience." Clara's heart raced, a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Me? Speak at the gala? But what if I mess up?" Clara Isabel's voice was steady, reassuring. "You have a gift. Your story needs to be heard. Remember, vulnerability is a strength. Embrace the opportunity." As Clara hung up, her heart danced with possibilities. This was more than just a personal milestone. It was a chance to share her journey and inspire others to find their voices too. The night of the gala arrived, and Clara stood before an audience that filled the grand hall. The soft glow of candles illuminated the room, casting a warm light on the faces eager to listen. Clara took a deep breath, her heart racing as she approached the podium. "A good evening, everyone," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "Tonight, I want to share the power of community, the love and kindness that fuels it. My journey began as a maid, but it